Good evening, Stephanie. How are you doing today? Hope you had a wonderful day today. Freebie and Camo, good evening. Rackard, good evening. Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful day as well. Janice, present and accounted for. Good evening. I'm an early bird tonight. I'm good, Will. Hope you are too. I am. I had a pretty relaxing day. I've been just sitting here kind of watching some YouTube videos and just relaxing, taking it easy. At the gym right now, pump some iron, Rykart. There you go. Purple, good evening. Hey, that looks better. Amy, good evening. Good evening. I got to adjust my chair. Hold on. There. Who thinks we'll get to watch Shallow Valve live, trial live? I hope we do. Well, all right. There's two things about that Pretty and Camo. First, Judge Boyce decided and actually had a ruling that in the Lori Vallow matter, that because the actual prosecution does not want the actual live streaming the actual court case, they will record it and then release it to the media shortly thereafter. So we won't be, if they go forward with the same decision, that it won't be live streamed. We'll see a video of it, but we will not see it as it happens. Liz Jane, good evening and welcome. Hello, Will. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Liz Jane. But we're gonna get some kind of coverage from the case one way or another, even if it's delayed, by an hour. We'll still know it that day. Where with her arraignment, we got the video almost immediately afterwards. It just wasn't live. It looks like a nice chair. Yeah, they're really cheap chairs. I bought 6 of them from on Amazon, and I'm not exactly pleased with them. They kind of, the first thing that we noticed is that the arms themselves, the padding on the arms is really thin, but they work. It's better than sitting on the floor, and they're definitely more comfortable than the chairs that I had before. But I have 2 of them in here in the studio, and then we have one with my wife's at her computer, and then my daughter has one, and the other one just sits in the living room. My son likes to sit in it and just spin around. Lori's going down. She'll be going around and around and around the justice wheel. Are we doing music first or crime or a mix? Stephanie, it's all music questions tonight, but it's musicians who committed crimes. So we're blending the two, the crime trivia and music trivia all into one. If we must endure depth and herd, why not shallow vallow? There are other trials I'm interested in. Yeah. Oh, a twist. Okay. Starfire, good evening. I will in chat, 82 degrees yesterday here in Michigan. Wow. We made it up to about, I think it was like 62 here, which, that's pretty much a normal temperature for April here. But it by the time June, July, and August hits here, it's triple digits every day here, every day. The coolest it gets down to is about 75 at night is the average, but it gets really hot during the day. It's toward the end of July. Um, oh, it's usually 109, about there, right in there, the average. But it's gotten up to 115 because I live in the what's called a semi-desert. The only thing we don't have here is we don't have like the big saguaro cactuses, but we have everything else here. So 60s, good saves on gas bill. Yeah. Left-handed RN, good evening. 6 cents a meal. Good afternoon, Will, and full one chat room. I hope you are all doing well today and tonight. Well, thank you. 6 cents, Amelia. Left-handed RN, 78 here in North Carolina. That's a nice temperature, 78 and 73 in Tennessee. That's nice. I'm a winter person. Maybe I should move to Alaska. I prefer the cold myself. Colder weather. It's easier to put on more layers and to stay warm and get warm. And the summertime in the extreme heat, it don't matter what you do, you just can't get cool enough. In this area, they tell people when who move to this area for the first time, you never realize just how important air conditioning is until you don't have it. If it goes out, you're going to want to have a really good AC repairman. Gemma, good evening, Gemma. You emailed me. All right, I'll look for it after this, Gemma. How are you doing today, Gemma? I hope you're having a terrific weekend. 8 hours, right, in the UK. Isn't it 8 hours difference, or is it 7 hours? I was talking to my uncle this morning. I think it's 8. I'm not sure. Juicy Jules. I moved from Central California, where we had 3 months of 105 plus degree temperatures. Ew. Sons in Roseville, Georgia got hot in trailer home. Has 5 kids. Ooh, Jesus. I'm doing good. It's 1 a.m. Monday morning there. Wow. So it's 5 p.m. here, 5:09. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 8 hours. That's why we have portable units on wheels in case the AC breaks. That's a good idea, Amy. It's a good idea to always have a backup. Here we have a couple of those window units. So in case if the AC ever goes out, and it has, we've had issues with the system before, running it nonstop, and then it ices up on the outside of it from running it for so long. Well, always got to be prepared. When I was younger, we camped near Mattawa in the summers. One year it was 118 in the shade. Mattawa, Washington. I've been there. I'm trying to remember where. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been to Mattawa. There's a lot of towns like that around here. Foggy in Colorado Springs. Waiting on rain. 2 years, dryness, climate change. Hi, Will and family. Very happy to catch you live, Will. Well, good, Gemma. Oh, I did not know that you knew Duty Ron until I came up. Somebody suggested your YouTube channel to me, and one of the very first videos I watched on your YouTube channel was a live stream where you had Duty Ron on your channel. If everybody out there, Gemma is a YouTuber. That's her name there. She is she is on the spectrum, and she talks about her struggles in her life, and and support for those others who are on the spectrum. And apparently, from what I gather, she's a big Elvis Presley fan. She's got a good collection of Elvis memorabilia and stuff. Skin cancer done Tuesday at Navy retired surgeon. Great Schnitt. 14 miles south of Vantage. Well, I know where the Vantage Highway is. I'm very familiar with that. The Vantage, there's a section of the Vantage Highway that is not too, I wouldn't say it's close to here. It's probably about 30 miles to where the Vantage Highway comes into here. But there's a stretch of it that is, back in the 80s, is just a straight road. And one of the world's fastest cars, they used to use that as a test strip. They would close it down on one end and on the other end because it's absolutely flat. I mean, but it's a Shelby, but it's not. They have no connection to the actual Shelby, like Carroll Shelby. But one of the world's fastest cars, is produced, and they has to test it on the Vantage Highway. Yes, got another Elvis video in the filming today. There you go. All right, we're gonna get this party started here in just a minute. I had a good show, kind of peanut butter banana sandwiches. I had to figure out what the little emojis were. He liked that peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Well, at least what my folklore is of it. Cool. All right. So here is the first question for the trivia tonight, and you'll kind of understand, get the premise of what all the questions are. They're all music related. They're all musicians or bands, but they also committed crimes. So there's the first question tonight. Let me get my little quarter down here. All right. Hopefully you can actually see the entire question. This one, later on I did move the questions down because the formatting is a little bit off. But question one: what bass player robbed a drugstore for 6 bottles of Oxycontin, then took a cab to his next gig at the Comcast Center as part of the opening band for Soundgarden? Was it A, Michael Todd, B, Flea, C, Geddy Lee, or D, Cliff Burton? Mel, good evening, Mel. Welcome. Nope, you're right on time, Mel. We're right on. I've just read the first question for tonight. First question: what bass player robbed a drugstore for 6 bottles of Oxycontin, then took a cab to his next gig at the Comcast Center as part of the opening band for Soundgarden? All of them in the same taxi, then went to the concert. No clue. Record D, Metallica. I just guessed. Pretty in Campbell, Elvis. Elvis is not one of the options. Nor is Johnny Cash. We all know Johnny Cash had a pain pill addiction. That and uppers and speed. He got busted coming back from Mexico. Isn't Michael Todd related to Liz Taylor? To tell you the truth, I do not know. I do not know on this one. Some of these questions I had saved to the cloud maybe 3-4 months ago. So very little information written down in here about any of the questions, but I'll try to answer and give you as much information as I can about them. But I don't know. I mean, I know who Flea is. He's from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I'm not sure who the other three guys are, to tell you the truth. What bass player robbed a drugstore for 6 bottles of Oxycontin, then took a cab to his next gig at the Comcast Center as part of the opening band for Soundgarden? 6 Sense Amelia, I don't know. Guess Flea? You're pretty account with Chucky Depp. All right. Question 1. The correct answer is A. Michael Todd. Michael Todd was the bass player who robbed the drugstore. He walked into the drugstore while before his band was supposed to play, about an hour and a half or so before they're supposed to play, and walked up to the pharmacist and told the pharmacist that he had a bomb and that he was going to blow up the entire pharmacy if he didn't give him all of the Oxycontin that he had. Then he got into a cab and then went to the Comcast Center and tried to act like he was doing nothing wrong at all. And he was arrested there at the Comcast Center. It was pretty easy to figure out who he was. He didn't disguise himself at all, and he felt no pain. Cliff Burton was Metallica's first bassist. And Todd died playing. All right, question 2. Yeah, now I've moved, so you can see I moved the question down so it's not covered up on the live and the timer if you see it on your end. Some people do, depending on what device you're on. Question 2. What legend of rock and roll and Hall of Fame member was arrested after recording women in a restroom of his restaurant? What legend of rock and roll and Hall of Fame member was arrested after recording women in the restroom of his restaurant? Was it A, Little Richard, B, Chuck Berry, C, Fats Domino, or D, Jerry Lee Lewis? Arrested. Yep. And he took a plea deal. Took a plea deal on it. Jerry? Good evening, Tammy. Welcome to the trivia tonight. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Red Court, Fats Domino. Conflicted between A and D. They're both suspicious characters. Well, every single one of the men on this list has been arrested more than once. But we're trying to find out which one of them recorded a women in the restroom of his restaurant. And yes, all four of these individuals have owned restaurants or have had restaurants when they were alive, if they were deceased. Domino's Pizza, LOL. D, if memory serves, Mr. Chuck Berry. D just seems like he'd do that. Well, that and marry, an underage, was it his second cousin? I think it was. Chuck, yucky. I knew I should have answered all the above. Yeah, he looks like it was Chuck Berry. Question 2. What legend of rock and roll and Hall of Fame member was arrested after recording women in the restroom of his restaurant? The correct answer for question 2 is B, as in boy, Chuck Berry. Now, for what he said in court was he was trying to catch a waitress who was stealing from him. That's why he said he did it. But when they went to his home as part of the investigation, they found over 60 VHS tapes of women, who were using the restroom. Some of them minors, but they also found marijuana and other drugs when they went to the home as part of the investigation. And he took a plea deal to on illegally recording women in the restroom and possession of the drugs. So I think he got something like 6 months suspended sentence, and that's it. But every single one of these men has owned a restaurant chain or a restaurant, and when they're alive, if they're now deceased. But yes, very nasty, Lieutenant RN. You're very true. All right, where is my cursor? There it is. All right, question 3. Sometimes people just have to die. However, it's never a good idea to hire an undercover officer to kill someone. Which singer was sentenced to 6 years for trying to hire someone to kill his wife? Was it A, John Lennon, B, Mike Coppy, C, Tim Labassis, I think that's how you pronounce it. Well, I'm not sure. Or D, Dee Saint. Sometimes people just have to die. However, it's never a good idea to hire an undercover officer to kill someone. Which singer was sentenced to 6 years for trying to hire someone to kill his wife? I usually do great at travel trivia on my phone. Hard to hear hot fun though. Don't know the last 3. This person may not be the most famous individual by himself, but a lot of people know the band that he is a member of. Maybe you don't recognize the name. E, Johnny Depp. He's done a lot of things, hasn't he? I don't think he tried to hire an undercover officer to kill his wife, though. I'm personally very proud of the fact that I know none of these answers. That's a good thing. I guess it is. I guess it is. It is a good thing, isn't it? Purple's going with C. Liz Jane's going with B. Amy's going with B. Juicy Jewel C. It's C. And he was a Christian singer. Let's see. Give it another minute. We'll see what the answer is. Yeah, Johnny Depp actually is he has a band. I've never heard of their music. I mean, I'd actually look it up on YouTube to find the music, but it's not bad. Not great, but it's not bad. Then again, Stephen King is in a band. With all the members of the band of Stephen King's band are all writers, horror writers, or writers. Well, now Dave Barry is in the band, and he's a comedy writer. But most of the rest of the band, Straub and Amy Tan, Stephen King, Dave Barry, but they're called the Rock Bottom Remainders. Toby Mac? No. All right. Sometimes people just have to die. However, it's never a good idea to hire an undercover officer to kill someone. Which singer was sentenced to 6 years for trying to hire someone to kill his wife? The correct answer is C, as in cat. In cement shoes. Good evening. It is Tim LaBassis. He was the lead singer of As I Lay Dying. And yes, Christian heavy, not heavy metal, but it was a harder kind of like Christian rock. But he tried to hire a hitman to kill his wife, and it turned out to be an undercover officer. This crime was committed on my birthday, and I used to listen to the band. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's not bad music. I mean, it's no. I mean, there've always been Christian bands, rock bands. You know, uh, they're not like Striper or some of the other more well-known Christian rock bands, but they're definitely known in that that genre. All right, question number 4. What was Jim Morrison convicted of in 1970, sentenced to 6 months in jail, and died while his case was on appeal? Then in 2010 was granted a full pardon for the crime. Was it A, drugs, B, public intoxication, C, assault and battery, or D, indecent exposure? AC/DC musician did the same thing, tried to hire someone. Yeah, I think that I remembered that. Well, at least it strikes a memory, Amelia. Alpha Fem, good evening. Welcome to Trivia. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And Cement Shoes, I hope you had a wonderful weekend as well. What was Jim Morrison convicted of in 1970? Sentenced to 6 months in jail and died while his case was on appeal. Then in 2010 was granted a full pardon for the crime. It's okay, I know the path like the back of my hand. Amy and Rykar are going with drugs. And is going with indecent exposure. Hey, Will, so far so good. Can't complain. Hope your weekend was great. It was. Thank you. Thank you for asking. It was. I had pretty much a relaxing weekend. I had all this done already. So most of today, I just sat here and kind of binge watched YouTube videos from Tronics Fix and My Mate Vinny. So YouTube channels on who um, they've done a couple of different challenges against each other for different things. The guy that Met's supposed to hit me out at the Borders in Barnes and Noble's parking lot. It hit man. Question 4. What was Jim Morrison convicted of in 1970? We don't need your third eye. Put away the snake. The snake away. Oh, there's my wife, everybody. Teal Ocelot. Hello, sexy man. Good evening, honey. Do you know what Jim Morrison was convicted of in 1970? You want to take a stab at it? Phone a friend? And Jim Morrison was the lead singer of The Doors, hon. Decided to take down his undies and expose his family jewels. That's D, says Mel. Overdone in a bathtub. No less. She started. I know that who he is. Indecent exposure is her guess, so she's going with D. All right, question 4. What was Jim Morrison convicted of in 1970? Then sentenced to 6 months in jail and died while his case was on appeal. Then in 2010 was granted a full pardon for the crime. The correct answer is D, as in dog, or as in the man part that he exposed. He actually, we walked right up to the microphone and he said to everybody, "Do you want to see my blank?" And then he just whipped it out. Obviously, he was probably higher than a kite when he did it, but still doesn't excuse it. But that's what he was convicted of. Indecent exposure. Alrighty, going on to question 5. What was Diamond David Lee Roth, arrested for on April 16th, 1993? Was it A, trying to buy $500 worth of weed? B, trying to buy $5 worth of weed? C, trying to buy $500 worth of LSD? Or D, trying to sell $5 worth of LSD? What was Diamond Dave arrested for? Still doing temp research job now, but the permanent job starts in 1 week. I'm so excited. Yeah, we're excited for you too, honey. We're all excited. I can't wait to have money again. It's gonna be nice. Oh, 6 cents. Amelia says all the above. What was Diamond David Lee Roth, arrested for on April 16th, 1993? Oh, B. Oops, B. B. Yeah, B. C. After I read the question, I'll tell you just how dumb he was when he got arrested. Let's just say it wasn't a huge, undercover sting bot, operation to catch him. Oh, we don't have any money at all on possum shirts. Oh, I love my wife. I love my life. He's just a gigolo. Everywhere he goes, he wears a possum shirt. Oops. All right. Question 5. What was Diamond David Lee Roth arrested for on April 16th, 1993? The correct answer is B, as in boy, trying to buy $5 worth of weed. He walked into the Washington Square Park and just started asking people if they had a little bit of weed that they could sell him for $5. And when they were doing, just a regular drug sweep of the, trying to arrest, dealers and people who were there selling and buying and using drugs out in the open in the park, at to their no one's surprise really, but David Lee Roth got caught up right there trying to buy $5 worth of weed from an undercover officer. Not the brightest of them all. I just heard about the guy who tried to hold up taco stand. He didn't see two cops in line behind him. Gotta feed the kiddo. Love you, babe. See you in the chat. Okay. Question 6. I will take a number 5 meal with a Coke and large fries. No, wait. Supersize that entire order. Here are some handcuffs for you. Who got arrested in the McDonald's drive-through? Was it A, Madonna, B, Old Dirty Bastard, ODB, C, Flea, or D, Sammy Hagar? I will take a number 5 meal with a Coke and large fries. No, wait. Supersize that entire order. And here are some handcuffs for you. Who got arrested in the McDonald's drive-through? If I had a stupid criminal of the week segment, I would put this on there because this is just how dumb this guy is, and how he got arrested. F Burger King. A Diet Coke, says Stephanie. Billy Cat, good evening. Welcome to Trivia. What a twerp. Yep. He wasn't even trying to find the best weed. He was looking for something just enough to get himself high on. But $5 worth of weed. B, I loved ODB. Too bad he's not alive anymore. That's true. Y'all don't know who Old Dirty Bastard is. Old Dirty Bastard was a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang. And I like Donald Trump, but still thought it was funny. Will, I miss a series they used to do with dumb criminals. Yeah, Cement Shoes. I just couldn't get anybody to watch it. Well, just one of the different series that I've done over the years, and try to make it into a repeat week after week kind of thing, but it just didn't have the viewership. Some people would watch the first episode or maybe 2 episodes, and then they just stopped watching them altogether. Maud Sharon, good evening. Welcome to Trivia. All right, I'll take a number 5 meal with a Coke and a large fry. No, wait, supersize that entire order. And here are some handcuffs for you. Who got arrested in the McDonald's drive-thru? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, to question 6 is Old Dirty Bastard. Old Dirty Bastard. He was at McDonald's signing autographs, and he had skipped out on he had a probation violation, and he skipped out, and he didn't show up for court. And there he is at McDonald's signing autographs, and the chief of police was there because she knew who Old Dirty Bastard was because her son loved his music and was a big fan of his. So she went there to get his autograph on purpose because everybody around the area knew he was there signing autographs at McDonald's. And he was getting done signing autographs and getting ready to leave, and he pulled into the drive-through to get an order to go, and she slapped the handcuffs on him because everybody knew at the same time that he was wanted. He was a wanted man. But if you're a wanted man, you don't go around signing autographs. You think you'd want to lay low, but not Old Dirty Bastard. He did some very interesting things in his life. All right. Question 7. 1.5 pounds of weed. That's what Willie Nelson smokes per week. On September 18th, 2006, his tour bus was stopped, and that's how much weed he had. What was his sentence for 1.5 pounds of weed? Was it A, misdemeanor charge and a fine? B, felony possession charge and 30 days in jail? C, a felony distribution and 1-year suspended sentence? Or D, no charges, gave officers free CDs? 1.5 pounds of weed. Now, I don't know if Willie Nelson smokes personally that much, but that's what he said in an interview with, I think it was like the country, some guy who does like the country music chart thing, like one of those radio shows, kind of like Casey Kasem does, did like the weekly top 40. But this guy, I can't remember what his name is, but he did the country chart version of that, for the country charts. And that's what he told him is that he smokes a pound and a half of weed every week. That's a hell of a lot of weed. But what was his charge when his tour bus was stopped and they found all that weed on him? Or in a bus, his bus. Don't be a Bogart. We'll let it slide. Oh. If he gets cremated, there are people outside of the crematorium to get high off the smoke from that one. That boy smokes a lot of weed. He always has. One and a half pounds of weed. Liz Jane says B. Alpha Fam says D. 1.5 pounds of weed. I didn't get this one. Reichardt B. What state? Lexi, I believe it was in Texas or Oklahoma or someplace like that. I could be wrong, though. I did not write it down. I remember the story vaguely. The reason why the tour bus got stopped is it got pulled over by the patrol commercial vehicle department for just a routine check. And then they found out that it was Willie Nelson's tour bus. And they asked everybody on the bus, part of the normal course of action. Everybody has to get off the bus while they check the bus to make sure that the driver had his logbook and and blah blah blah. And they were going through the entire thing, and when right there in plain sight on a table, it wasn't hidden. He didn't even think about picking it up, and he could have stuffed it into a duffel bag or wrapped it up in a blanket and made it look like a pillow on a bed. But it was in all that weed, 1.5 pounds, was out in open sight when the officer stepped on board of the tour bus. So I remember the story vaguely, but I don't remember exactly where it took place. So I think it was Texas or Oklahoma. but I could be wrong. It does not matter the state if it's not illegal. It does not make it legal federally. That is absolutely true. Um, Biden says he was going to change that, or he was going to that at least that's what he said on the campaign trail, that he was going to make marijuana not a crime, but or decriminalize it. I think was how he put it. I didn't see that happen. Anybody else surprised by that? All right. What was the actual sentence that Willie Nelson got? Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer is A as in apple. They charged him with a misdemeanor, and in the end, no jail time, nothing at all. He had to pay a fine, and that was it. They didn't arrest him. They didn't slap the cuffs on him. Nothing. If it was somebody else completely, they would have went to jail and they would have prosecuted the entire case. But because it was Willie Nelson, they just said, you know what? And that and everybody else who was on a tour bus all said that it was their weed. So they could have went to the court and said, look, it in your possession is your bus. You're in control of everything that goes on in this bus, and they could have prosecuted him still for it. But even though everybody said that it was theirs, Willie is Willie. That is true. Willie going to be Willie. I'm first in line when it's legal. Well, it depends on where you're at, Alpha Fem. I'm in Washington State, and here we have not only medical marijuana, we have recreational marijuana. You can go just about everywhere and buy it. And we have dispensaries and different places you can buy it and buy edibles and everything else here, just like Colorado and a couple other states. Two-tier justice system. That's true. If it's in a car and it's your weed, it's your weed. Yeah, that's true. Weed would be no fun if made legal. No, it all depends on if you're smoking it or not, Stephanie. If you're smoking it, I hear people get high from it. That's fun, right? At least the people who use it. To each their own. I don't care. As long as you don't, use it and then get behind the wheel of a car, or affect somebody else, on it. Do what you want in your own time. It's your life. All right. Question 8. It's legal in California, but can't cross state lines if it's not legal in your state. Oh, you're in Eastern Tennessee, so not beyond Delta 8. It's legal here. Okay. I don't know what Delta 8 is, so I'm sorry. I say smoke it at home. Yeah, here in our state, you can have up to I think 3 plants is for your own consumption, but anything more than that, you have to join what's called a pot co-op to grow more than 3 plants. Just the way it is. It's part of the laws. Don't smoke silly weed. I've just heard stuff. Yeah, I don't smoke it either, but I don't do whatever people need. I know there's a lot of benefit to the medical side of it. All right, question 8. The Who's Keith Moon was equally legendary for his epic swath of destruction and drumming. After one such party and his arrest, what hotel chain banned the entire group from ever staying at their hotels again? The Who's Keith Moon was equally legendary for his epic swath of destruction and drumming. After one such party and his arrest, what hotel chain banned the entire group from ever staying at their hotels again? Was it A, the Hilton, B, Holiday Inn, C, Red Roof Inn, or D, Motel 6? We'll leave the light on for you. That's 2 wrong answers for me. Better to eat it than smoke it. Oh, sorry. Here it's 5 that grow better than my tomato plants. Philly Cat, good evening and welcome. Tup Hello, honey. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but welcome as well. I didn't say I smoked it. LOL. You can smoke it, eat it. But I was going to say that CBD oil has been beneficial for a lot of people. And that's got to really hurt the big pharmaceutical companies out there because as soon as they, CBD oil has become more available to people around, the United States and around the world, they're realizing just how beneficial it's been to a lot of people who have been, reliant upon the big pharmaceutical companies for different medications over the years, and everything from joint, and muscle pain to chronic, illnesses that affect people's sleep, to vertigo, to cancer treatment. There's so many different things that they're finding, during long-term research studies. They're finding that CBD oil is actually beneficial for people. So take that, big farm. Tent, Skid Row. Doors, yep, should have known he wild. For those that need the medical part, it's better to eat it than to smoke if you get more relief from the pain. I feel so bad for Big Farm. Not. I don't feel bad for him either. I don't feel bad for him either. Question 8. The Who's Keith Moon was equally legendary for his epic swath of destruction and drumming. After one such party and his arrest, what hotel chain banned the entire group from ever staying at their hotel again? Heartbreak Hotel. Yes, it has. My pain doc doesn't want me to use anything. He's a prick. He pops drug tests on me 2 times a year. Wow. I'm sorry about that. Some people even have been able to give up their prescription pain medication because of it. And it, like my niece was on just a litany of different medications and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. They tested her and tested her and tested her. And then it turned out that, CBD oil has been a life sin. She first got sick when she was in high school, and she couldn't go to school anymore, and she was on bed rest because she couldn't walk because of the vertigo and other side effects of all the different medications they had her on. And CBD oil gave her back her life. She was able to finish high school, and now she works for a living. And everything else is, for the most part. I mean, still young and has to figure out their own way in this world, but at least she has the opportunity now, all because of CBD oil. Helps my son's chronic insomnia, but illegal in Tennessee. Oh, that sucks. All right, Keith Moon. The correct answer to question 8 is B as in boy, Holiday Inn. Now, here's the funny part about this entire thing and this epic party that Keith Moon and The Who threw. He said it was his 21st birthday party. Well, actually, it wasn't. It was just his 20th birthday. He still had to go another year before he was able to turn 21. But Keith Moon went way overboard, compared to what the rest of the band did. They destroyed that hotel. They set off fire, suppressants, the fire extinguishers. They set them off. They destroyed the bathroom in the lobby of the hotel. They destroyed their room and threw all their furniture out the window. And Keith Moon rolled a Buick into the pool, buck naked, completely naked, as as you would say, and then got out and partied it up there in the pool, standing on the roof of the car until it sank. But they banned them for life from ever staying at another Holiday Inn. Right, my BFF had that too, broke her ankle, and that set in. Oh, Hobby was in a rollover accident years ago, crushed his vertebrae. He can't have CBD oil. Heart patient. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I broke my tibula fibula in my foot. I got hit by a car when I was out in the snow, black ice. The kid was 14, no license. Oh, that sucks. Forever banned from the Holiday Inn. Yes, them for life from the Holiday Inn. All right, question 9. Keith Moon, naked. My eyes, my eyes. No. All right, question 9. Which rock and roll band had every member arrested and fined for peeing on the walls inside of a gas station because the station attendant didn't like those long-haired hippie types and refused to give them the key to the restroom? Was it A, Pink Floyd, B, Led Zeppelin, C, AC/DC, or D, the Rolling Stones? Me too. Heel was where toes belong and toes where the heel. Oh, gosh, Fran. It just sounds painful as hell. Billy Cat is going with B. Fran is going with C. Pretty camo C. Maud Sharon and Amy are going with B. B, one of my favorite bands. Led Zeppelin. Can't go wrong with Zeppelin. Please don't be Zeppelin. I love the guys. Lieutenant RN is going with D, the Rolling Stones. Which rock and roll band had every member arrested and fined for peeing on the walls inside of a gas station because the station attendant did like those long hair hippie types and refused to give them the key to the restroom? I'm a right-handed RN. Brand's a right-handed RN, and we have left-handed RN here as well. Attached by the skin. Oh, they screwed it back on her leg, but it isn't right. Turns on its side. She's in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. That's terrible. Yeah. Which rock and roll band had every member arrested and fined? Leg spasms help too. D, at Maud Sharon. Gross. Peeing inside of a station. Well, they did it. They did it to protest. What they wanted to use the bathroom, but the gas station attendant wouldn't allow them. He didn't like those long-haired hippie types. So they're like, all right, fine, we can pee anywhere. So they just started peeing on the wall inside the gas station. I know it's gross. Your BFF. Which rock and roll band had every member arrested and fined for peeing on the walls inside of a gas station? Ladies and gentlemen, the Juicy Jules, welcome. The correct answer is D, as in dog. The Rolling Stones. This happened to the Rolling Stones. The not only did, but the attendant of the gas station was fired for it because he refused to give the key to anyone. They found out later on he refused to give the key to anyone that looked like a hippie, and he didn't give a rat's ass if it was the Rolling Stones or not. He wouldn't give them the key, and it's like, no, I'm not going to let you use the bathroom here, you hippies. So he was fired for it, but they peed on the floor right there inside the gas station. Dirty dogs. I was wrong, but thank God it wasn't Zeppelin. It wasn't Zeppelin. All right, where we go here? It's time for the prize question, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take myself out of the little picture here. All right, look over the prize rules, and remember, you have 5 minutes to come up with the correct answer for the prize question. Use the internet, Google it, Bing it if they're still in existence. I don't know if they are, but they might be. Whatever. Phone a friend, yell out the window, ask somebody walking by, do whatever you want. Nothing is cheating. But the first person to answer the question correctly wins the prize. And it's a good, it's getting up there, in size right now. I can see Mick strolling in going, come on, let's go. Been nice friends, but I gotta go. See you next week. Oh, Alpha Fam, you sure you don't want to stick around for the prize question? All right. As soon as I show the question, your 5 minutes starts. As soon as I show the question. Here is the question. Tonight's question: the soul of any good band is the beat of the heart of it all. You got to listen to him. He's a once in a lifetime talent. Who did Keith Richards say this about? The correct answer must be the first and last name of the individual. Tonight's prize question is worth $70 cash or $70 Amazon gift card. It's your choice. Again, in the rules, it states you must be a resident of the United States of America. I cannot offer the prize to anyone outside of the U.S., but everyone is free to guess. The clock has already started. You have 6 minutes left. Do 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 do. I live on Mars. All right, Fran. Since you live on Mars, I'm going to make an exception for you. We'll eventually populate other planets, soon enough, and destroy them, just like this one. The people obviously don't care enough to take care of this planet. And not everybody. I'm just saying in general. That darn station attendant. Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters is a hell of a musician, blues musician. In case you guys are not familiar with Muddy Waters' music. See y'all. I'm getting the look. LOL. Mars is cool. Elon Musk will send us all there. Like Peace Train singer. Peace Train. Isn't that Yusuf Islam? Cat Stevens? I think Peace Train was Cat Stevens, but he changed his name to Yusuf Islam. I heard they named their band after one of his songs. Probably wrong, but I'll stick with the Rolling Stones. Yikes. He uses his real name now, Cat Stevens, or Yusuf Islam, or whatever the hell he changed it to. I mean, he changed it to Yusuf Islam from Cat Stevens. Charlie Watts. Got some great guesses here. MJ helps leg spasms. Rotary Dial, good evening. Rotary Dial is guessing Elton John. Bill Wyman. Got 30 seconds left. Who knew it was them? Ugh, Stones. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Nobody got it. Nobody got it. Put myself back down in my little square. All right. Otis Redding, good guess. Freddie Mercury, no. The correct answer is James Jamerson. James Jamerson. James Jamerson was an American bass player. He was an uncredited bassist on most of the Motown record hits in the 1960s and 70s, and is now regarded as one of the most influential bass players in modern music history. He was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000. James Lee Jamerson was his full name, but he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame posthumously in 2000. But James Jamerson. And if you're just curious, how many records did he actually play on during that 10-year span from Motown? He played on over 200 records as the bass player, at over 200. And nobody knew who he was. He just didn't exist until later on in his life. I mean, people knew who he was, if you were in the music industry, but nobody knew that he was on these records because they never credited him for anything. One of the biggest disgraces that ever happened in the music industry. But the standards, like, for playing the bass guitar, have been, musicians, who have come after him, have all said, you've got to listen to this man's music. And he did release later on solo records of just him playing the bass guitar. He did rock and roll, but he also did some more classical kind of like styles of music, playing the bass. I mean, he had a vast catalog of music that he played on. All right, the next question. Question 11. You can You can buy just about anything at 7-Eleven. Beer and cigarettes are the most popular after slushies and soda. What was the frontman of the Black Crows, Chris Robinson, going to buy, but was so upset a fan didn't know who he was that he walked out of the store without paying for the items? What was he going to buy? Was it A, tacos, B, chips and slushy, C, beer, 2 cases, or D, Diet Pepsi and chips? Darn it, I missed it. Never heard of him. I'm sorry, Maud. Sharon. There's a great interview that you can watch with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he talks about how he found a record at a thrift like tag sale or someplace, and how he would go home and he would listen to that bass, James Jamerson play, and he learned so much from the style of him playing just the music that influenced his style so much on how he played the bass guitar. And there's a lot of musicians out there that have been influenced by his music and his style. The man was light years ahead of anybody else out there. Tampax. A. Maybe. Well, but it's not one of the options. I'm not guessing this one. Good luck, everyone. What was Chris Robinson of the Black Crows going to buy, but was so upset that a fan didn't know who he was that he walked out of the store without paying for the items? E. Glow in the dark condoms. Good evening, Rebecca. Welcome. We are on question 11 right now, as you can see. We are trying to figure out what Chris Robinson, the lead singer of the Black Crows, walked out of 7-Eleven without paying for. What a baby having a tantrum. C, says Lieutenant RN. The A, Black Crow. Diet Pepsi and chips. Hey, Betty Blue. I'm late, but I made it for question 11. Hi, Will. Hi, Betty Blue. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. What did Chris Robinson of the Black Crows walk out of 7-Eleven with without paying for it? Glad to be here. Music person with me says D, based on personality. We'll see here in just a minute. Question 11. Thank you. Good. Do you guys have 7-Elevens near you? I know 7-Eleven convenience stores are not everywhere, but they're kind of like a pick-a-pop store or a Tom Thumb. You might have those in your area. It's just a convenience store chain. They used to, the reason why I got the name 7-Eleven is they used to be only open from 7 in the morning to 11 at night. That's how they got the name. Most stores don't even have locks on. Well, they didn't have locks on them until I think 1999 or something like that. They didn't even install locks on the doors of the place because now they're open 24 hours a day. He was married to Kate Hudson. They don't sell alcohol in Maryland at 7-Eleven. Nope, 7-Eleven's here. I know they're not everywhere. Well, question 11. Sounds like a nut job. I wouldn't recognize Chris Robinson either. Oh, I'm sure he doesn't want to hear that. We have 7-Elevens, don't shop there though. All right, what was Chris Robinson buying at 7-Eleven and was so upset that, that a fan didn't know who he was that he walked out of the store with the items without paying for it? The correct answer is C, as in cat. 2 cases of beer, and both of them were Miller Lite. He walked out of the store and he was fined for stealing the items, obviously, and took a deferred prosecution, which meant that he didn't have to serve jail time as long as he didn't get convicted of anything else within the next year. They do have 7-Elevens on the East Coast in some states, but the entire story is he was in the store buying the beer. One fan recognized him, and then her best friend said, "Oh, who are you?" She recognizes you and she wants your autograph, but I don't know who you are. And he explained out who he was, and she still had no idea who he was or who the Black Crowes were, but she knew all the songs. When he said these are our hits, and she's like, yeah, but that upset him to the point where he just stormed out of the store with the beer, but ended up taking a deferred prosecution for it all. Run like it, like in Canada, no 7-Eleven sell alcohol, but weed for sale next door. He did a beer run. Yep. Bright card. He did a beer run for sure. Don't drink sugar drinks. I only drink water and coffee. But 2 cases of beer is what he stole. Question 12. On 11/23 of 1976, Jerry Lee Lewis went to go kill another rock legend while drunk as heck. Who did he attempt to kill that night? And then, in case you're wondering, that's November 23rd, 1976. Was it A, Elvis, B, the Big Bopper, C, Willie Nelson, or D, Johnny Cash? You can't walk in 7-Eleven without a slight Indian scent. On November 23rd, 1976, Jerry Lee Lewis went to kill another rock legend while drunk as heck. Who did he attempt to kill that night? In KC, Missouri, get robbed a lot. Or buy for beer. No one got right, Stephanie. Who did Jerry Lee Lewis go to kill on November 23rd, 1976? Come on, people. I'm trying to turn my stupid phone off, and it won't let me turn it off until people stop messaging me. Rebecca A. Elvis. Accent. I hate autocorrect. I don't think that we have one 7-Eleven nearby here. They set the world's record for the most Slurpees consumed or sold within 24 hours. But I don't think there's anybody there who is actually of Indian descent, heritage. Most of the people who work there are in their late 20s, early 30s. There are not too many young people who work in it. Got a lot of different convenience stores chains around here, but 7-Elevens are an easy way to find a 7-Eleven. If you do find one, They're usually in really economically depressed areas. That was the only place to get a Slurpee, right? A Slurpee. Nah, there's other places to get Slurpees. July 11th, 7-Eleven gives away Slurpees. They do every year. Every year, free Slurpees. They have to. They've since changed the rules. You used to get if anything that you could put a Slurpee in, but now that you only get a small, but you get a free one. At least around here, they have 7-Elevens in Japan. I know they have 7-Elevens all over the world, and the ones in like Japan and some other countries, you can get like an entire meal made for you at or buy an entire meal at a 7-Eleven. The ones around here usually they have a gas station attend portion to it, so they sell gas and Slurpees. But all right, on November 23rd, 1976, Jerry Lee Lewis went to go kill another rock legend. Who was it? He went to kill Elvis Presley. A as in apple. He was waving around a 32 caliber Derringer, and I believe it was it was Elvis Presley's nephew or somebody else. It was somebody related to Elvis who was working security that night, and he would not open the gate to Graceland to allow Jerry Lee Lewis to come in, and especially since he was drunk as hell, and he was waving around a gun. He's like, I'm just going to call the cops. But he went there to kill Elvis Presley. That was his entire, would he have done it? I don't know. But he was drunk, so you never know. But that was his intention. His cousin, 7-Eleven fresh hot coffee. But yeah, on November 23rd, 1976, Jerry Lee Lewis went to go kill Elvis Presley. Harold Lloyd. Come on, guys, hit the like button for Will. Thank you, Purple. I hope everybody enjoys this. I hope you're having fun with this. The combination of crime and music trivia all together. All right, question 13. 1, 2, 3 slaps to the side of the head. Foxy Brown, the singer, has got an anger problem. Arrested and convicted for assault in 2004, 2011, and again in 2018 over really silly things. Who has she taken her rage out on? Has it been A, employees at Jiffy Lube, which is an oil change center, place you go get your oil changed in your car? B, employees at Walmart? C, employees at McDonald's? Or D, employees at nail salons? 1, 2, 3 slaps to the side of the head. Foxy Brown, the singer, has got an anger problem. Arrested and convicted of assault in 2004, 2011, and 2018 over really silly things. Who has she taken her rage out on? There's Come and Go and Loaf and Tug too. I know of the actual the convenience store, Come and Go. Yeah, I've been to them. Um, some of them are pretty big. The Come and Go stores, but they're kind of like 7-Elevens. Loaf and Jug. I'm not familiar with that chain, but Come and Go though. Yeah, I've been there. Been on my travels across the United States. My Red Bull is all gone. Now I must get another one. 1, 2, 3 slaps to the side of the head. Smack, smack, smack. Foxy Brown, the singer, has got an anger problem. Arrested and convicted of assault in 2004, 2011, and 2018 over really silly things. Who has she taken her rage out on? Are you or any of you in the chat, and you will, willing to watch the trial of Johnny Depp? Um, I've watched some of it, here and there, like highlights of it, but I'm not really all that interested in, the tumultuous relationship the two of them had. But I've watched some of it. Quick check, and Wawa, here in New Jersey. Wawa stores. I haven't been to a Wawa store, convenience store in a long time. But Foxy Brown, the lead singer, has got an anger problem. And just in case you're wondering, after her 2004 conviction of assault, she was ordered to take anger management classes. And each time that she's been sentenced to take anger management classes, she has violated the actual terms of that and been rearrested, later on, obviously, because she did it again in 2011 and 2018. She assaulted employees, at other places. But where did she, has she taken out her rage? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, has been given by Purple. D, employees at nail salons getting mani and pedicures. She has taken her rage out on. Once she got a pedicure and didn't get her mani, and was billed for both of them. So she slapped the employee. Another time, she didn't like the service, so she slapped the employee at checkout when she was getting ready to leave. And then the third time, she actually assaulted the actual owner, slapped her, and then grabbed her by the hair and slammed her into the counter. And she's just got a violent streak in her. And obviously, the anger management didn't work, and she has violated the terms of her probation over and over again. Foxy Brown. If you work at a nail salon, don't let Foxy Brown into your nail salon. There's your answer. What is Johnny Depp trial about? Defamation. They're suing each other, suing for defamation. All right, question 14. Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is an eccentric man. On more than one occasion, he has been stopped while walking in the rainstorm. The last time he was detained by police because they believed he was an escaped mental patient. Where was this? Was it A, in Long Branch, New Jersey, B, Hollywood, California, C, Miami, Florida, or D, Leeds in UK? Bob Dylan is an eccentric man. On more than one occasion, he has been stopped while walking in a rainstorm. The last time he was detained by the police, they believed he was an escaped mental patient. Where was this? Well, Jerry Lee Lewis was a child. You know what? He married his 13-year-old. Was she the first cousin? I thought she was the second cousin. But okay. So he is on my black bald list. Reminds me of Josh Duggar. Kind of. They're definitely, sick as hell. That happened to me before because I understand Vietnamese. But Bob Dylan, Bob Dylan is an eccentric man. Amy, I've been to all those places except for D, Leeds, UK. Lieutenant RN and Rebecca are both going with A. Amy's going with D. Oh, or been to all of them but D. I even read the question, her comment. Purple's going with A. Definitely, that's the music and true crime crossover that was never prosecuted. Bob Dylan's an eccentric man on more than one occasion. On more than one occasion. Can you imagine this happening more than once to you? But apparently, from Bob, and for what Bob said, after this, when it came out, after this, the last time that it happened, is that he likes to walk when it's raining because he says it helps clear his mind, and he loves the smell of the air after a rainstorm. I have to agree with him on that one. I like the smell, after a rainstorm, how fresh the air is. But where did this last one happen? And they believed he was an escaped mental patient. Hi, all my trivia enthusiasts. I love walking. Liz likes walking in the rain too. There you go. She is up when Johnny is through. Mm. All right. Where did this happen to Bob Dylan the last time? The correct answer is A as in apple, Long Branch, New Jersey. He was on tour with um there were like three other famous people he was on tour with, but they picked him up and then took him back to his tour bus where at the and then he got his identification. He didn't have any ID on him the last time it happened or any of the other times. He was wearing multiple layers of clothing and just walking in the rain, just doing it, minding his own damn business. But they didn't arrest him, they detained him and then took him back to his tour bus where he showed them identification of who he was. He told them each and every time this has happened to him that I'm Bob Dylan. And they're like, yeah, whatever, you weirdo. As long as the mistrial isn't issued for someone putting flyers about Amber on the car windshield outside of the courthouse. But Bob Dylan, this happened to him the last time in Long Branch, New Jersey. And this is if you're wondering how many times has this happened, it has happened 3 times. 3 times he has been stopped while out walking in the rain. 3 times. The last time was in Long Branch, New Jersey. And where's my cursor? There it is. All right, question 15. Whatever your kink is, do what you want, as long as you do it with another consenting adult. Boy George, however, has had issues with the consent part. Who filed charges against him in 1995 for not being willing to get down with Boy George's kinky play? Whatever your kink is, do what you want, as long as you do it with another consenting adult. Boy George, however, has had issues with the consent part. Who filed charges against him in 1995 for not being willing to get down with Boy George's kinky play? Was it A, Sammy Skolder, B, Gary Not Willingness, C, Charles Moore, or D, Don Carlson? Doggone it. Walking in the rain is a crime? I don't think it's a crime, Sixth Sense Amelia. It's just that he looked out of place. And from the description of what he looked like the last time in Long Branch, New Jersey, they said that he didn't look like he belonged there, and that local residents, who lived in this high affluent area, yeah, where he was walking, they were like, "Hey, man, this man doesn't belong here. Why is he walking around in our neighborhood?" So they just called it in, and the police came by and they're like, "Hey, man, who are you, and why the hell are you walking in the rain?" He's like, "Because I want to." They didn't arrest him; they just detained him. But he could have simply, if Bob was really worried about it, he could have his identification on him, but he doesn't take his identification with him. And in some jurisdictions, it is illegal to not have identification on your body, on your person when you are, questioned by the authorities. Don't think it's right, but that's the laws in some places. Oh, everyone is perfect. Oh boy. D, and D says so far. Oh boy. Boy George was in jail for 15 months. D says Starfire. Whatever your kink is, do whatever you want, as long as you do it with a consenting adult. Will, I have no idea. I can take a guess. Take a guess. I didn't even know the answer to this one until I put it on the trivia, and then I looked up the actual case itself. Was this in the U.S.? I don't recall. I don't think so. I think it was probably in London, but I'm just guessing at that. I don't recall the honest truth. He showed everybody in jail his karma chameleon. Oh, Tammy. Oh, it's good though. Karma chameleon. Oh, wow. Stab in the dark at sea. All right, Charles Moore is Purple's guess. Stab in the dark. All right, question number 15. The correct answer is D as in dog. Audun Carlson was Boy George had handcuffed him, and then he made some comments about, like, you're going to get what you deserve or something along that lines. And Audun Carlson was able to get out of his restraints when Boy George had pulled out a box or a basket or something of sex toys, and before he was able to actually leave, get out of there, he was whipped a couple of times by some chains, and yes, Boy George was sentenced to 15 months in jail for it, and a hefty fine. But that was the second stab. And now he's on the Voice. But everybody's got a past, right? At least it seems like it. Question number 16. Rest in peace, rap star DMX. In one of the crazier nights of his life, DMX and a friend pretended to be someone else for the night while smoking crack. Who did DMX impersonate that night at JFK Airport? Was it A, Will Smith, B, an FBI agent, C, a customs officer, or D, Bill Cosby? Rest in peace, rap star DMX. In one of the crazier nights of his life, DMX and a friend pretended to be someone else for the night while smoking crack. Who did DMX impersonate that night at JFK Airport? Do you really want to hurt me? Oh, hell yes. Oh, my God. Here, Damn. B, just guessing seems like a crack activity. Left hand RN going with B, Mod Sharon, C, C for Amy, C for Betty Blue. Rest in peace, rap star DMX. In one of the crazier nights of his life, DMX and a friend pretended to be someone else for the night while smoking crack. Who did DMX impersonate that night at the JFK Airport? I mean, just the premise alone is funny. You were high on crack and you decided to become somebody else. You would think that if you're going to impersonate somebody, that you'd probably want to do it when you're not high on crack. But he did it. He most certainly did. A Men in Black. Bill Cosby was smoking pudding pops. I miss those. I wish I could. They still made those. The pudding pops. Man, those were good. I remember those as a kid. I want some of those again. Just read about that on the 1 year anniversary of his death. Really? He didn't, but DMX did some crazy stuff in his lifetime. Some crazy things. All right, question 16. Rest in peace, rap star DMX. And one of the crazier nights of his life, DMX and a friend pretended to be someone else for the night while smoking crack. Who did DMX impersonate that night at JFK Airport? Him and his friend, along with his in his vehicle, they decided that they were going to be FBI agents. B as in boy, FBI agents. Smoking crack, they decided to be an FBI agent and they tried to pull over somebody. There's an interview with, I think he was on a Howard Stern show or some radio show where DMX was talking about this and he actually said, but what, the guy totally disrespected me. He had no respect for my authority at all, if I had any authority. But he was high on crack. And they abandoned the vehicle after they wrecked it. And then the cops found a billy club and crack, rocks in the car and drug paraphernalia and all kinds of other stuff that was left. They just left everything in the damn car after they wrecked it. The SUV, I think it was like a Suburban or a Tahoe or something like that, some kind of SUV thing. I gotta be an FBI agent since it's the crime or a Will Smith. Get a cake pop can and experiment on making them. All right, question 17. Frank Zappa was denied entry into the U.S. Army and was removed from the draft pool for the draft for Vietnam for what crime? Was it A, production of fake pornography, B, admitting to being a drug addict, C, punching an officer in the face, or D, pissing on an army flag? Frank Zappa was denied entry into the U.S. Army and was removed from the draft pool for Vietnam for what crime? Tammy, E, all the above. Frank Zappa. What did Frank Zappa do to be denied entry into the United States Army and get removed from the draft pool for Vietnam? What did he do? And there is nothing out there that would surprise me that Frank Zappa did it. It might be all the above, if that was an option for this question. But what did Frank do? So and it's not a crime to name your children weird shit either. Because if it was, you'd been convicted of that one a long time ago too. But that's not a crime. You name your children whatever you want, and trust me, people do. I had a cat called Dweezil Toe Zappa. Oh, that's cool. It had one black toe on each white foot. Oh, that's cool. It had. I'm sorry you don't have a cat named that by that anymore, Amelia. Strange factoid: I don't think Frank Zappa ever did drugs. Do you think that you think he's just that way on purpose? I hope that hell he did a lot of drugs because he'd be a perfect campaign for don't do drugs, kids. C and D you get kicked out for. A and B are preventative strategies. I did not know that. I didn't know that any of them would work to deny you entry into the draft pool. You'd think if they're drafting people, they'd want anybody and everybody, any human body, to. Dorothy Larkin, good evening and welcome to music, and crime trivia tonight. And Dorothy is going with A. It sounds like the only one that would get you arrested. Yeah, the music specialist here says he didn't do drugs either. Huh. Oh, Frank is definitely one weird man. If it's all for show, he's a hell of a showman then. Because of don't eat the yellow snow and being a crime, I say D. Don't eat the yellow snow. That is a words to live by. Da 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 da. The more you know. D maybe because I don't eat yellow snow, and being a crime, I say B. Frank Zappa never drank alcohol or used cannabis or any drug, just tobacco and coffee. Well, I did not know that. Man just strikes me as somebody who would be perfect for videos for say no to drugs. All right, question 17. What did Frank Zappa do that he was denied entry into the U.S. Army and got removed from the draft pool for Vietnam? Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find this one really bizarre, but it's A as in apple. A as in apple, production of fake pornography. All right. So let me lay out the premise here for the production of fake pornography. So Zappa was a broke, starving, musician. And it was early in his career, and he didn't have like much money, and a used car salesman came up to him and said, "Hey, I'd like you to make a pornographic movie, or if for so I can recopy them and then distribute them and sell them as a hustle, that is side hustle." This used car salesman, came to talk to Zappa into it. So Zappa and his girlfriend at the time went back to his recording studio, and they recorded on an audio cassette moaning noises, the sounds of springs for like a bed, old rickety bed, the bed springs, squeaking. It was all made up. It had nothing to do with actual pornography at all. And then they brought it back to him and they gave it to him. The used car salesman turned out to be an undercover cop, and they prosecuted him for production of pornography and distribution of pornography is what they originally went after him for indecencies. And you have to think about the time when all this was happening, and but he made it all up, and that's what they actually went after him for. But it got him. He had no intention of being removed from the draft pool or being denied from going into the army. He didn't want to go into the army, but he didn't want to be drafted to go to Vietnam either. But that was how the story behind how Frank Zappa was arrested, and they tried to go after him, convict him, and destroy him because of fake pornography. Did not allow his bandmates to do drugs either. I didn't know that. How do you produce? That I just explained it to you, to everybody. Amy, how you make fake pornography. It was all just made in a recording studio, and they faked the entire thing. It was on audio. All right, question 18. It's never a good start to your day when the SWAT team comes knocking on your door. You may not recognize his name, but you have heard his music. What crimes then? And you can figure out how to pronounce his name there. Well, I'm going to skip that. Let's go. Malstein, charged with. Excuse me. Was it murder in the first degree, assault and robbery, C, aggravated assault with a gun, or D, bank robbery? It's never a good start to your day when a SWAT team comes knocking on your door. You may not recognize his name, but you've heard his music. What crime did, however you pronounce that, Malstein charged with? God help us if he did. That's bizarre. It makes me unsympathetic for him. He is a weird. So they pronouncing pronounced ing they ing they. Is that a Malstein? Okay, Ingway, ing and in English, Ingway. Okay, I don't know, but thank you. Yeah, okay, that works too. You, why can't he just be named like Bob Malstein or something like that? But Malmstein. I don't know. I guess people around the world use their own language, and call their kids by different names. Not everybody has to be a Susan or a Bob. Never a good start to your day when a SWAT team comes knocking on your door. You may not recognize his name, but you've heard his music. And if you're wondering, he's a guitar player. What was he charged with? Did he play for Poison? I don't know if he played for Poison. He may. I know he was in some bands, and he also played by himself. I only heard of the man, from his solo music. I don't know. I'll Google it. Google is my friend. Me and Google, we get along fine. Right. Gwiemel. Let's see. Swedish guitarist. What does his IMDb page or Wikipedia page say? Um, bands, studio. He's done a lot of music. Early career, Barney Shrapnel Records. I'm not seeing Poison listed here. Oh, I went to the wrong page. So y'all got a sneak preview of the next two questions. Changing it to C. 6 Cents Amelia will be right back. All right. It's never a good start to your day when a SWAT team comes knocking on your door. You may not recognize his name, but you've heard his music, and you may have, because a lot of his music is especially if you've ever been like in an elevator. His music has been. They took out all the background music and everything else to it, and other musical instruments, and they have made a lot of elevator music, just him playing the guitar, unfortunately. But the correct answer to number 18 is C, aggravated assault with a gun. All right, so the story behind this is his girlfriend and him were at home, and who his girlfriend at the time was 19, and he was in his home, and the SWAT team showed up at his home, and they demanded that he come out of the home. The girlfriend's mother made accusations that her daughter was being held against her will there in the home, and that he had a whole lot of firearms, and that he had displayed an actual gun and said that he was going to kill the mother. All right. And so the SWAT team showed up. He had no idea what was going on. And him and his girlfriend were the only ones in the house. And it turned out later on the mother made up everything. Later on, the girlfriend and him actually got married. But anyways, but she went on. She said, "Man, he never threatened me. He never said he was going, or he never held me against my will. All of it was made up by the mother." That came out later on, though. But he was charged with aggravated assault with a gun. That's the enhancement. The gun. All right, question 19. Good night. It's time to count some sheep. What crime did Peter Buck, the guitarist for bands such as REM and others, charged with? What was he charged with? Peter Buck. A, common assault. B, exposure. C, aggravated assault, or D, murder in the first degree? Good night. It's time to count some sheep. What crime was Peter Buck, guitarist for bands as REM and others, charged with? Karen Gillette, good evening. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Rebecca's going with B, exposure. That's too crazy. Cuckoo for cuckoo puffs. Amy's going with D. Dorothy Larkin, C. Purple, C. Scary. I can't even guess. Peter Buck, guitarist for REM. That's where he's more famously known for being the guitarist for REM than anything else. I have seen REM in concert, I want to say 6 times, but it might be 7. I've just happened to go to a lot of them, and I've never been a huge fan of REM. It was either friends or somebody else I knew was going and said, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Why not? Why not?" I mean, I like their music. It just wasn't something that I've ever been like, "Oh, you know what? Can't wait until REM comes in concert again so I can see Michael Stipe, jump around on the stage." But to each their own. I like the music. It's just never been my genre of like music that I or style of music that I like the most. I mean, but losing my religion was a good, whatever that one. I think that was losing my religion. Yeah, there's some songs that I really enjoyed. We got B C B question mark says Mod Sharon. What was Peter Buck, guitarist for the REM, arrested and charged with? Lieutenant RN, common assault. Says she's guessing A. What was Peter Buck, guitarist for the band REM, charged with? Bum, 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 bum. Question number 19. What was Peter Buck, guitarist for REM, charged with? Karen Gillette is going with A as well. Dee Dee Parks, good evening, Dee Dee. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. What was Peter Buck, guitarist for the band REM, charged with? Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Buck was arrested and charged with A, as in Apple, common assault. Oh no, Peter Buck is one of those air rangers on airplanes. Peter Buck. What was he? So the backstory behind this is Peter Buck said that he had taken a heavy tranquilizer sleeping pill and doesn't remember any of the what happened on that airplane. The plane was going to Heathrow. It landed at Heathrow, and that's where he was arrested at. But during the flight, he drank like a whole bunch of wine or champagne, tipped over a service cart, and it was just a complete nut job on the plane while it was on its way over there. But he says he doesn't remember anything that happened. But he was arrested and charged with common assault. D for dark murder in first degree, not love in the first degree, by Alabama, right? I don't know. I don't know. Sorry. Question 20. Sometimes a crime isn't really a crime. Other times, a former employee could make up a lie to get you arrested after you fired them. What crime was Ozzy Osbourne rumored to have committed, but it was all made up? Was it A, whizzing on the Alamo wall? B, biting head off of bat? C, punching Sharon, his wife, in the face? Or D, snorting ants like cocaine? Sometimes a crime isn't really a crime. Other times, a former employee can make up a lie to get you arrested after you fired them. What crime was Ozzy Osbourne rumored to have committed, but was all made up? All made up. 100% of it was a lie. Yeah, B, D, C, 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 and an A. Mod Sharon's going with A. Then D. Do. Snorting ants like cocaine. Says Liz Jane. Dee Dee Parks is going with A as well. Mod Sharon and Dee Dee Parks. Go whizzing on the Alamo. Will, I'm striking out. Aw, man. Sorry. I'm sorry. I tried to pick ones that were a little bit all over the place tonight, but but not so hard. I have more of these. I think I have at least another 40 or 60 that are already prepared that are crime and music related. Starfire is going with D. Sometimes a crime really isn't a crime. Other times, a former employee can make up a lie to get you arrested after you fired them. What crime was Ozzy Osbourne rumored to have committed, but was all made up? What was the rumored of crime that he did, but was all made up? What was it? Excuse me. All right. What was the lie that a former employee made up about Ozzy Osbourne to try to get him arrested? I misread. I think it's A. He did all B, C, and D. Liz Jane, you are absolutely correct. Ozzy Osbourne has done every single one of those except for A. A as in Apple was made up by a former employee. Ozzy Osbourne urinated across the street from the Alamo while wearing a dress that belonged to Sharon. He was wearing a dress and he urinated on the sidewalk across the street from the Alamo. What the employee did was told people in a radio station originally that Ozzy Osbourne urinated on the Alamo while he was there for a concert. And people absolutely lost their shit because he pissed on an actual historical landmark. So people and it ran with him. People still believe it. If you Google it, you'll probably find stories even to this day about Ozzy Osbourne supposedly pissing on the Alamo, but it was made up by a former employee. Yeah, but Ozzy has done all of the others. He bit the head off a bat. We all know that. He punched Sharon in the face and he snorted ants like cocaine. He has done all of those except for A. A is the only one. I think it's whizzing on the Alamo wall. It was. That was the one he didn't do out of all of those. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all 20 questions for tonight on the trivia. I really hope that you liked it and you'll give this a thumbs up. It really does help move up for each and every one just a little bit more in the algorithm, so people will find my channel and my content, and hopefully they will like it. Now, if you're a fan of the shorts that I've been doing, they're only like 23 seconds long. right after this, there's going to be two of them. For some reason, they're all scheduled to release every day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But for some reason, I think it's like number 86 and number 87, they did not launch. It just went from scheduled to they're there unlisted on my channel for some reason. But after this, immediately after this, there's going to be two of those little 23-second, shorts right after this episode. So, yeah, I got one right, Will. Good. Rotary Dial, thank you, Will. Night night. Good night, Rotary Dial, and you have a terrific week ahead. Used to do true crime nights. Used to on Fridays. Used to do them on Fridays, but after doing it for 3 months, I just couldn't get the viewership to tune in when I was available to actually do them. So I had to end it. And I mean, I'm already working, doing this 6 days a week. I take off Wednesdays. It's the only day of the week that I take off. But I had to cut back on some of the things that just people weren't tuning in to watch. And when you think about it, there's no real reason for me to keep on making content if no one's going to watch it. I mean, if people don't like it, if they don't watch it, why spend your time making it? So I'm trying to combine the two, music and crime, and move it all together into one to make it more enjoyable and more, more with the channel content. So, my channel is all about true crime and crime in general. So, and this kind of fits. So, and we enjoyed the music trivia, and I hope if you did, give it a thumbs up. Changing to A. Used to do true crime. Appreciate it. And this. Thank you, Rebecca. Thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to make things that content that people enjoy. So I'm here to entertain and educate at the same time. I love crime trivia. Missed your Friday nights. I love the music trivia too. Well, thank you, Liz Jane. I appreciate it. Mark David, hi from NZ, and that's New Zealand, right? NZ. Well, either way, Mark David, good evening. We just finished up with the trivia for the night, and kind of just answering some questions right now while I still have the time. Dee Dee Parks, thanks, Will. You have a great week. You as well, Dee Dee. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Sure is. New Zealand. See, in New Zealand we have Viva La Dirt League is from their YouTube channel. Viva La Dirt League is from New Zealand. It's 2 p.m. there. You can look that, but their YouTube channel, they do a little bit of it's sketch comedy kind of stuff about being Play Store employees, and they do some play role playing, where they're like characters inside of video games and stuff like that. But that's what Viva La Dirt League is, their YouTube channel. Apparently, they're building a huge complex down there. You have a great week, Will. Going to go now. Thank you, Liz Jane. You have a terrific week ahead. Purple, thank you. I had a great time. Thank you, Purple. Excuse me. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. And I really do hope that you enjoyed this. If you have a suggestion for a topic or something that you would like to see me, see if I can make in, or meld into the trivia night. Um, Leave a comment down below, not here in the live stream, but after the video, is all with underneath the video itself, and I will try to incorporate it. Um, you know, I suggested, can you do one of these nights on just Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd or Elvis or the Beatles, and there are a lot of crimes, that have happened, around a lot of these really popular bands. Either the artists themselves have committed crimes. I mean, hell, even Paul McCartney, was arrested for possession of marijuana. So, I mean, but yet, as an understanding of it all. So I might do, a night like that where all 20 questions are on just one band. But if you have a suggestion, again, put it in the comment section after this video, and I will consider it and try to meld it into one of these nights coming up. But thank you again, everybody. You all have a terrific week ahead, and stay safe out there. We need to click thumbs up for Will. Will, you keep it fun, and we learn and laugh until it hurts. LOL, much love. Much love to you as well, and you have a terrific week.